Dumaguete.
Hello, Negros Oriental.
Hello, Sillimanians around the world.
This is Joshua Soldivillo.
And this is Ronelyn Vailoces, and you are watching
#Silliman.
For Silliman updates, we would like to welcome Sillimanians to a new exciting semester. Welcome back to school, everybody. We would also like to congratulate the bar takers this year. May the odds be ever in your favor. Good luck!
You know, you've come a long way. Kudos to all your efforts and sacrifices. Meanwhile, our dear old Silliman ranked 14th in the Albert Doher Scientific Index Top Universities in the Philippines for this year. The ranking is based on the productivity and citation impact of publications made by the university's scientists and researchers. Congratulations to our researchers, faculty, and staff on a job very well done.
Indeed, Ronelyn. Meanwhile, the Silliman University Nutrition and Dietetics Department trained women to make various fish products to help fishing households maximize profit from their catch and reduce fishing pressure in resource-scarce marine environments. Congratulations to SUND team.
And that's all for #Silliman Update. Good evening, everyone. This is a magazine program that talks about the different aspects of Silliman University.
A program initiated to discuss matters concerning the campus by the sea. Welcome to
#Silliman.
Good evening, friends and Sillimanians around the world. Thank you for joining the third episode of #Silliman. We are very thankful that we are receiving positive feedbacks on our YouTube account and on our Facebook page. Continue to support and follow us online. For tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by two members of the Psychosocial Processing core team of the Silliman University team. So allow me to introduce to you the Dean of Students, Dr. Edna Gladys T. Calingacion. Edna, good evening.
Hey, good evening, and thank you for having me.
We are also graced with the presence of the Dean of the College of Nursing, the ever-dynamic Dr. Theresa Guino-o.
Good evening, Ron, and good evening, everyone.
All right. By the way, Dr. Guino-o, congratulations to the entire family of the College of Nursing for producing another top-notchers in the recent nursing board examination. So would you like to give a shout-out to your students who made it?
Yes, I would like to congratulate our 3 top-notchers in the recent November 2021 board exams, starting off with the first placer, Miss Chiara Bell Poblador, our 4th placer, Esther Faith Padilla, and our 8th placer, Miss Nicole Allison Fry. And congratulations to their families. And of course, congratulations to all the faculty and staff of the College of Nursing.
Wow, indeed, the College of Nursing is a center of excellence. For tonight's episode, we will be continuing our discussion about the efforts of Silliman University about Typhoon Odette and related topics. So, let us begin with Dr. Guino-o. Dr. Guino-o, what is really this, what we call psychosocial processing? And why is this necessary, and who are actually needs to attend on this kind of intervention?
Okay, so psychosocial processing is actually an intervention that we give or we do to survivors of traumatic events such as disasters, emergencies, violence, all of these things.
Right.
Because of the nature of the situation. So these situations actually produce a lot of changes in a person, including physical. For example, that person might manifest physical symptoms like lack of sleep,
Right.
lack of appetite, pain in the body, and of course behavioral changes such as dependence on alcohol or difficulties in adjustment, lack of motivation in work, and emotional symptoms such as anger
Right.
or fear or extreme sadness. And these manifestations actually affect a person to a point that the person may not anymore function well in society. It affects activities of daily living and performance of roles and responsibilities. And so we do psychosocial processing in order for us to help these persons understand why these types of events that are seemingly meaningless
Right.
or sudden, unexpected, unpredictable, they will understand why this happens. They're able to think, what is the reason that this happens in their life, and because they understand that, they can continue on living with a better perspective, not feeling angry or sad or afraid. And this is very important for their well-being.
Yeah.
So it's all related to health
Right.
and
Yeah.
how they can be good citizens of a community.
Okay, before we talk more about psychosocial processing, let me ask Dr. Edna Calingacion, who are the people behind the psychosocial processing initiative in Silliman University?
Okay. Ourselves, the Silliman University Psychosocial Processing Team, or SUPSP team, all are volunteers.
Wow.
We have the core team. There are 8 of us. I'm the team leader, and Dr. Guino-o is part of the core team. And we have now 41 active volunteers.
Wow.
And we also have around 21 new volunteers that we have already for deployment for our run for Typhoon Odette in the 8 municipalities in Northern Negros.
So sorry.
Yes, Josh?
So who are qualified to become a volunteer at the Edna?
First is the passion to help. If
Right.
you want to volunteer,
Very important.
then
Yeah.
you are actually welcome to join the PSP team. The second one is that you have to find time because you have to be trained. You have to attain to attend the one-day training, or with a virtual training that we have for the first time.
Yeah.
We have one in the morning, and then the following day we also had a simulation. So really you have to find time.
You know, Josh, I've been meaning to ask, is this the first time that the university actually initiated a program like this?
I would say no. This is not the first time.
Yeah.
It's already 10 years since we are doing this.
1 decade.
Yes,
Wow.
one
Wow,
decade.
congratulations.
When we had Typhoon Sindong in 2011, Silliman University, through the Silliman Community Care Program, we went on a PSP run with some relief efforts in the towns of Sibulan. We also went to Valencia and then Hunob in Dumaguete City. And we have gone as far as Bohol for the 2013 earthquake,
Yeah.
as far as Calingacion after Typhoon
Yolanda.
and then Cebu for the Naga landslide. So we have been all over the place for the past 10 years.
Yes, responding to the needs of our communities and, of course, fellow Sillimanians as well. So, Dr. Guino-o, you mentioned earlier that this intervention is more or less a way, no, to help our the people in the affected communities move forward.
Yes.
So, but aside from this, trying to assist them to move forward, what is the ultimate goal of this initiative?
So, actually, before, when we had disasters, the usual response of communities was simply to give physical aid.
Right.
But we have already recognized that the psychological well-being of persons is very important.
Okay.
And that's the reason why we give priority as well to psychosocial interventions. I mean, we can continue living with a masked face and think that we are okay.
Yes, correct.
But if disasters come again and you have not settled, your feelings or your thoughts with the previous one, that might escalate to more problems.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it might even come out as
It could worsen.
PTSD
Yeah.
or a post-traumatic stress disorder, which would be more difficult to manage.
So the way I'm saying it, Dr. Guino, is that it's like we are translating it to the Silliman kind of education. It's holistic. So aside from the physical well-being, we also look into the psychological and the internal, so to speak. So, Ron, I'm actually very curious about what are the things that are actually being processed. How do we clinically call them? Are these emotions, anxiety? Because there might be overlaps.
Oh yes, it's difficult to really say what it really is. We are not psychiatrists or psychologists, but we do observe more or less similar symptoms of persons who have survived this type of experiences. And basically, it is important for persons to be able to process this, to express their emotions and their thoughts about it. Because once you're able to put these things out, then you understand why it happened, whether my reactions, my responses were unusual or were they usual. Is it normal to feel these symptoms? And aside from that, we don't only help them to process these things, but we provide information for them. Because many times, even no matter how we say the Filipino is resilient, we have to accept the fact that in many aspects we need help. And these types of information can also be given out to survivors during the sessions of psychosocial processing. So they have to learn how to cope. They choose ways on how to cope. And at the same time, they learn from others in the group. And they find themselves like, oh, so I am not alone in this experience. It gives them a sense of strength and hope that they are able to move forward.
Very important.
So I'd like to ask Dr. Calingacion, what are the challenges that you encountered so far on the ground? Given the 10 years of service of reaching out to the people, did you encounter any problems?
And if I may add, given the pandemic, right?
Okay. Challenges. There were a lot, a lot of challenges during the different engagements that we had. But then what is heartwarming in all of the PSP engagements that we had is that we were able to find partners in the different localities that we went to. We had the support of our alumni. Thank you so much for our alumni, because without the support of the alumni, we would not have gone to Bohol or to Conanga Leyte to conduct the PSP, because going there with a team of 37 is difficult. We need funding for that. So to me, the challenges are just challenges. We were able to overcome this, and we were able to run, and people have been saying thank you because they have been listened to. With the pandemic, it's a different challenge because PSP is a face-to-face engagement. And even the training, we were talking with the core team and we said, do we have the face-to-face training or do we do it virtually? There is the workshop or the simulation. So we said, let's try to do it virtually. So we did. And we had training of 21 volunteers and 42 active volunteers who underwent the retraining. So I think we just have to go with the times and address these challenges.
Yes, but Joshua, you are correct when you say there are challenges, especially during this pandemic. If we come to think about it, just in Negros Oriental, the survivors of Typhoon Odette are located in areas where there is no
internet
connectivity or probably not a good supply of electricity. And so doing it virtually, which is maybe an alternative for health purposes, may not be feasible.
Yes.
So if you are a member of the psychosocial processing team, you have to consider yourself as a health worker.
Right.
Health workers do not complain about being exposed to COVID or any kind of health challenge.
Yes.
So it has to be in your system that you have a heart to help and you are willing to take the risk.
Yes, I think that's very important, no? Because as what Ate Edna mentioned earlier, you should have the passion, you should have the heart. And I think you should have that strength that you're trying to emphasize, Dr. Guino, because diba, you cannot give what you don't have. And I think that's very important that you as a, how do you call someone who does PSP?
PSPer.
PSPer. As a PSPer, you should be strong enough, right, mentally. So, Dr. Edna, you've mentioned about volunteers, no? And as the chief or as the head of our Student Services Division, what is the participation of our students?
Okay. In the past engagements that we had for the 10 years experience that we had, our students are very crucial in the conduct of the PSP. We have student volunteers, so the approach was multidisciplinary, integrated approach. So we have, I'll give you a scenario. It's so heartwarming when you say a Silliman community care program. The Silliman community that goes into the community, bringing the nurses group. They conduct their health teaching, and then we have the students from the ND, so they cook, and then they also do the health. I think they were weighing the kids there.
Oh, okay.
So they cook the snacks, and then we have engineering students also who were there trying to assess with their faculty the extent of the damage.
Wow.
And then we have the College of Education, preschool students conducting the cluster of the preschoolers. So it's really an experience for our students. But then with the virtual with the pandemic now, we have to recalibrate how we approach the involvement of our students. So for now, we are involving our senior graduating students because this would be their last semester in school. So this is an experience of a lifetime because most of our active volunteers were volunteers during their student days, and they look forward to the call if there would be another PSP engagement in the community.
I think there's a lot of people who participated in this initiative, Dr. Edna. Now, if you can estimate it, how many do you think are volunteering for this PSP?
As I said, we have limited. The training is virtual. So we had students around. I think with the 21, we had around 10 or 11 students who responded the call to be part of the team.
Are we still accepting volunteers, or are there still trainings that you are going to do for the volunteers that are interested to join the PSP?
There were calls inquiring if there would be trainings, if there would be another round of training. So we said, we'll schedule it later. We'll try to set our schedule in terms of our plans of doing PSP in the 8 towns of Northern Negros.
So we will visit on the ground. I mean the areas that are affected by the typhoon. Are we going to visit them not just virtually? Is that going to happen soon?
Yes. Last February 4, we had the first gathering of representatives from different schools. There were 70 schools who participated, and we had 187 participants. We conducted, Silliman organized with, in collaboration with the PGCA, Philippine Guidance Association of Negros Oriental Siquijor chapter.
Wow.
So we had the first sharing of psychosocial intervention initiatives of higher education institutions in Negros Oriental
Yeah. Wow.
towards collaboration and sustainability. It's an offshoot of the groundwork that I did. We did a PSP assessment in the 8 towns in Northern Negros, and we found out that the extent of the damage in terms of the communities affected is large, and Silliman could not do it alone.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's true.
So we need to mobilize schools to get involved in this kind of community work. And we have started our partnership with the different UCCP churches.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Pastor Jovita was able to mention that. So I'd like to go to Dr. Guino-o. Like, aside from the Typhoon Odette, we are also facing a pandemic, I think for 2 years or more or less 2 years. So this, and you mentioned that you've been doing this for 10 years. So at this point, how different it is going to be, given that there's a pandemic, on top of it, there's this typhoon, right? So let's hold on to that answer. Dr. Guino will answer that after a short break. me to go back to that question, how is it different this time given the pandemic and then here the Typhoon Odette?
So actually, it's going to be more challenging. People will have more anxiety, not just about what has happened to them and whatever they lost in their lives, whether it be family
Right.
or possessions or opportunities, but they're also afraid of contracting the disease,
Yeah.
True.
especially at this time. And even for the team who will be going out, we will have to make sure that we protect ourselves as well as the other persons are also protected. We all know there are many people who do not want to be vaccinated. That's one of
The resistance,
problems that we might be encountering. And at the same time, not all persons would really like to wear masks or maybe follow health protocols. But we will ensure that all health protocols will be followed, starting from protecting ourselves personally, because that's our responsibility, to travel, to eating, or probably doing the psychosocial processing and the way we arrange ourselves or choose places where we should be. It should really limit transmission of the virus if ever it is present in the area. So we have to ensure that.
Right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Guino-o. Now, I would like to ask you for a short message for our audience, especially in these trying times. Everyone is coping with, the aftermath of Typhoon Odette and the pandemic. Let us start with Dr. Edna Calingacion.
My message, okay, to the alumni and friends of Silliman University, thank you for your donation. You will enable us to conduct the PSP in the 8 municipalities of Northern Negros Oriental. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Dr. Guino-o?
Yes, and maybe I'd like to address all the people who are watching right now. There is help available if you need help.
Yeah.
So we are together in this. We want to be mentally and emotionally healthy. Please ask help if needed.
Right. So once again, daghang salamat. Thank you very much, Dr. Edna Gladys T, Calingacion, the Dean of Students, and of course, Dr. Theresa Guino-o, the Dean of the College of Nursing. And we have now come to the last segment of our episode tonight. This is called #Words to Ponder, #WTP. So Ron, after our I think we have a very wonderful conversation,
Yeah,
right? Don't
that's
you agree?
Yes, that's right, Josh. And, if there is a word that I like to ponder with the conversation that we had with our esteemed guest for the night, I think it is the word psychosocial. It's because it's a combination of psych and society, the self and the society.
Right.
And from that, we can say that each and every one of us can be actually a beacon of light or a beacon of hope to another person. And it's just a matter of asking for help and reaching out to help. How about you, Josh? What is your word or words to ponder?
Well, I think my word for tonight is togetherness.
Okay.
Right? Because the pandemic taught us, we were in isolation for so much, time, and the pandemic really taught us the importance of being with others. And in fact, we miss being with our friends, our peers, being in school, or just being at the mall, hanging, drinking some cup of coffee. So I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And I always subscribe to this African proverb that goes, if you want to walk fast, you walk alone. But if you want to walk far, you have to walk with others. And I think that is what togetherness means.
Wow, that is so heartwarming.
Yeah.
And given that we are celebrating today, Valentine's Day.
Wow, happy Valentine's, everybody.
How are you going to celebrate it, Josh?
Well, it's going to be a synchronous session with my students. So we will celebrate the love for education.
Okay.
How about you, Ron?
Well, I just want to greet my special or significant other a happy Valentine's Day. And
Hashtag
of
sana
course,
all.
and of course, we all love and we are all in love with education, with our family,
Yes.
with God, of course.
Of course. Ate Edna and Dr. Guino-o, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
All right, friends and folks, I think that is all for tonight for Hashtag Silliman. See you next week, and to God be the glory.
And that is all for tonight. Catch us on Channel 6 at Field Products every Monday at 8 p.m. And replays will be shown on Friday at 8 p.m. and Saturdays at 2 p.m.
Make sure to follow as well online on our Facebook account. It's Hashtag Silliman. And we have a YouTube account. It's also called Hashtag Silliman. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
And of course, happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Enjoy your Monday night!
Bye.